Hello and welcome to my Nakamoni Enlightenment Show, a show in which we take enlightening excursions into contemporary, current, and topical issues in academics, culture, and life in general. We learn to use reason, sense, and understanding in order to avoid turning out mediocre or being odd, thus increasing our chances of missing opportunities that there might be in life. I'm certain a majority of us have heard this saying that a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. What I don't know is whether everybody knows that these words are from Shakespeare's play, Romeo and Juliet. It is a character there, Juliet, who is pointing out that Romeo will not cease to be her lover just because she has discovered that he is from a family that has been involved in a long-standing feud or a long-standing quarrel with her family across the ages. A question I would like to pose here is Juliet right or wrong that a rose by any other name would smell as sweet? I can tell you that in one sense she is right, but on another she is wrong. And we'll get back to that. Before I go any further, let me ask you to like this episode and to subscribe if you've not already done so. Don't stop there. Watch this episode right up to the end. I tell you, it's gonna be of great benefit to you and to me. So please do it and welcome. And then at the end, I would ask that you comment on the comment section below and let us interact that way. Today, I am going to talk about common names that Kenyans mispronounce. And even though I specifically mentioned Kenyans, many other non-native speakers of English are faced up with the same problem of mispronouncing the names, and they would benefit greatly if they took an interest. So, welcome and happy watching, happy listening. Well, I know for sure that Kenyan tribes and many other tribes all over the world do have rules in their culture how they name their children. But as a result of acculturation, meaning modification of individuals or groups or people by adopting or borrowing traits from another culture, in many parts of the world, names have been westernized. For many people, and here I'm talking of Anglophone countries where English is spoken, many people will have the first name westernized, and most likely the second and third name being the remnant of the tribe's culture. Today, I shall confine myself to Western names commonly mispronounced, but I promise to come up with common Kenyan names, their meanings, and their significance. I can already foresee a very interesting time when we'll have together. I promise you, I will do it. The American writer David Carnegie said that a name is the sweetest and the most important word for a person. It is a sound that they love to hear. If addressed by name, a person feels important, respected, and definitely will relate better with the speaker. Fact of the matter is that there is power in using a person's name. It is the fastest and most reliable way of building a rapport when interacting with a person. I personally pride myself for having a knack for learning people's names. In my many years of teaching, one of the strongest tools I have used is learning the names of the learners in my classroom. And this one has not only helped maintain class control and discipline, but it is a sure way of motivating my students to work much harder. When they know that I know them by name, for sure, they work much harder. And occasionally, there is this magical moment when I meet some of them many years after they left school, and I can remember them by name, and they feel so important. So names have significance, power, and they define people. Using a person's name as you converse with them makes a lasting, positive impression. And conversely, should a person note that you do not remember their name, they feel slighted. They feel that they are not worth. Therefore, if you are not good in remembering people's names, seek to improve. Seek to improve by learning their names and addressing them by their name. If you meet a person for the first time, please care to ask their name. If you are on the phone with a person, take the earliest opportunity to learn their name. If you find a person's name difficult to pronounce or even spell, it is good to ask them how you can do it. Interact with people using their names. It can be on a first name basis if you're very familiar with the person. It can be the middle name, especially with your compatriots, people who are of the same rika with you, the same age with you. Or it can be the surname, especially in official circles, and most likely giving the title Mr. in the case of men and Mrs. or Miss as appropriate in the case of female. Back to the story of the star-crossed lovers, Romeo and Juliet. In a literal sense, we can say this, that calling the rose by any other name would not reduce its fragrance. Its sweet scent would remain intact. But if it were a human being, calling it by any other name would reduce the way the rose feels about being a rose. And the point I'm driving at is that we should at all times take great care in calling people by their proper names. For no one likes being called by the wrong name. And everybody has a name. So always be careful how you pronounce the name and spelling it. Now, pronunciation of names do vary from place to place. So never make yourself the sage on center stage that you know everything. If you are in doubt, care to ask the person how they prefer their name to be pronounced or even spelled. Call a rose, or ask it what it likes being called. These are the words of Killer Scanlon. Once again, let me remind you to like, subscribe, watch, and comment. Now, I get to the names that Kenyans constantly mispronounce. I will give 10 female names and 10 male names. Ladies first is the rule always. So here we go. The first name is Abigail. Abigail. That's the way it should be pronounced. Here you might hear Abigail. Abigail. Let me say for sure, they're in some parts, especially remote parts of Australia, where you might hear Abigail. But the commonest pronunciation is Abigail. There you go. How about this one? Barbara. Barbara. Don't say Barbara or Baraba or something like that. Or Barbara. No. It is Barbara. This one is an interesting one, and it is Caroline. Caroline. But granted, there is also the British Caroline. Caroline. So the Americans will say Caroline, but the British Caroline. So now decide what you want to use. How about Eva? Eva, a beautiful girl's name, but that's what you would hear wrong. The correct pronunciation is Eva. Eva is the correct pronunciation. Never say Eva. How about this one? Ivy. Ivy. Not very common, but it's a beautiful name. It is Ivy, never Evie. Never Evie. This one should be simple, but it is commonly mispronounced, and the word is Laura. Laura. Not Laura or Laura. No, it is Laura. Please note that. How about this one again? Commonly, in fact, many people will not even agree with me. The word is Naomi. Naomi is the correct pronunciation, not Naomi. Naomi. Maybe if you're speaking Kiswahili, yes, Naomi. But in English, Naomi. Naomi. Please, let's note this. How about this one? This is a difficult one. Sometimes you even come across it and you may not be able to know how to read it, but it is Phoebe. Phoebe is the correct pronunciation. So don't say Phoebe. I've heard that, Phoebe. No, it is Phoebe. Sheila is the next one that you're doing. So the word is Sheila. Never Sheila. Sheila or Sheila. It is Sheila. A beautiful girl's name. Don't spoil it. Zipporah is where we're going to stop. And Zipporah. Again, listen to the intonation. It is not Zipporah. Zipporah. It is Zipporah. Maybe if you're speaking any other language, you might say Zipporah, any other Kenyan language, but never when you're doing it in English. Now on to the male names. And the one that I have in mind here is Abel. Abel. But what will you use here? Abel. Abel. No, it is Abel. Please, let's note that. How about this one? Caleb. Caleb is the correct pronunciation. Granted, as I researched on these names, I heard on the internet that the Kenyan version of Caleb is acceptable. Kenya, many people will say Caleb, and that has become acceptable. So if you're in Kenya, you may choose to continue saying Caleb, but Caleb is the most widespread use of that name. How about this one? Egerton. Listen to that. Egerton. Some parts of America, they may say Egerton, but the more widespread use is Egerton. Here in Kenya, I'm thinking of Egerton University. The man who built the buildings that are there was Lord Egerton. So I would like us to keep to that pronunciation and not saying Egerton. How about this one? The word is Ethan. Ethan, never Ethan. Please remember, it is Ethan. The E there takes that E sound. And I would like to point out there's also the corresponding name very close to that one, Nathan. Nathan, common here, but you'll hear people say Nathan. No, it is Nathan. How about this one? It's a common boy's name and people love it. They like calling their names, but you'll always say it mispronounced. It is Felix. Felix. Felix, never Felix or Felix. Felix is the correct one. How about this one? It's Gabriel. Gabriel is the correct pronunciation. Unless you're using the female version of it, Gabriel. Gabriel takes that as sound. So male, Gabriel, you may say Gabriel. How about this one? Isaiah. Isaiah. But there's also Isaiah. Isaiah. Especially the Americans will say Isaiah, but the British can say Isaiah. How about this one? Simple and common, but commonly mispronounced. The word is Moses. Moses. You'll hear Moses. Moses, Durango, something like that by way of example. Just Moses. Moses. This one, it's a difficult one, but we hear it here and again, and It is an Irish name, and the correct pronunciation is Sean. Sean. It may have varying spellings, so Shaun or Shawn, but remember the pronunciation is Sean. Never sin. Okay, you may be lucky, fortunate enough to hear some people saying sin and it's acceptable, but remember the common one is Sean. Then the last name that I'm looking at is Zechariah. Look at it. Zechariah is the correct pronunciation. Not Zachariah. Zachariah, it is Zechariah. Note that. Or Zechariah. Zechariah. You may say that. Okay, over with the names. 10 girls' names, 10 boys' names, if I may say that. We might point out this. So, I will end this episode by mentioning my colleague, Mrs. Patricia Mutua, who prompted me to come up with this episode when she asked me to enlighten people how to pronounce Abel. Abel. I can guess why, but I guess that is a story for another day. But this is what reminded me that I've heard Kenyans mispronounce many other names. And in time to come, God willing, we should be able to cover many more names so that when you call a person, you call them by their right name. Let us say this. Many people are not confrontational when you mispronounce their names, and they may not even seek to correct you, but you make them feel wrong, that their names are not worth remembering, and it is wrong. Give them that feeling of comfort. Get that connection with the person, that rapport with the person by remembering their names. Remember, it is very close to the very root of their identity. A name is very close to the very root of a person's self-identity. Remember it. And as the Bible puts it, a good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. You'll find that in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 1. And this shows us the great significance people have. Get it right when you have to pronounce that name. So that is the end. Remember to like the program. I hope you liked it. And to subscribe. And then you will be notified of the next one that I'm coming up with, which is most interesting. Bye for now, until the next episode. Bye.